Hi, Cancer, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your March 2021 full moon reading for you. Now, I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also to subscribe to my channel. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload new videos, and I upload all the time, just hit the bell notification button. And if you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now, before we begin this reading and clear the energy space, once again, a reminder not to be scammed by anyone in the comment box pretending to be me offering you a reading. This person is not me. They are a scammer. Do not be scammed. With that said, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. All right. Let's let the bulls sing as we see what the tarot has to say. How will Cancer be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Cancer be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Cancer be affected by the March 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels. And spirit guides, angels, and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, angels. Fantastic. With one bonus card. Okay. All right, let's move these over just a bit so you guys can see better. Okay, perfect. And we're going to see our chakra energy for this time. How will Cancer be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Cancer be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Cancer be affected by the March 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides. Ooh. That one. Okay, so it's this one right here that definitely wants to be heard, just right off the bat. Okay, perfect. So we have that. And let's see, excuse me, the spirit guidance for this time. How will Cancer be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Cancer be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Cancer be affected by the March 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Ooh, okay, that one right there. Fantastic. All right. Now the left-hand side is the inner self. The middle is the heart, the emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. And we're going to see how all of this correlates to the moon, which is in Libra, and to the chakra energy and the spirit guidance. So let's see here. We start off with the Seven of Cups, which is beautiful. We have the Five of Wands, so that's interesting. We have our dreams coming forward, and then we have our fears coming, and conflict and doubt. And then we have the Knight of Swords, which is air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, amplifying the power of this Libra full moon. All right. And then we have the Seven of Swords. So we begin with a 7 and we end with a 7. The Seven of Swords can make us feel like we're being a little bit sneaky, like we should be telling people more, but it's not really any of their business. So we don't have to if we don't want to, right? But this is also a sense here with the beginning and ending in 7, crowned and rooted in 7, that there's a need for honesty. And it's honesty with the self, but also we're going to find that, like, when people lie to us, and it can be even little lies, they're not going to be that acceptable. It's like, give me the truth. I need the truth, or I don't want to hear it at all. And things are going to be rather intense, for us. And we're going to find that we get called out, which is going to be annoying. But again, whenever anything isn't quite as upfront as it should be. So just be mindful of that. This is also a number that has us seeking great spiritual wisdom, great knowledge, going deeper into things, we're not going to be okay with just surface value. We have Judgment, the Hanged Man, the Queen of Cups. Okay, so that's you coming through as the Queen, Resurrection, the Hangman seeing things differently, the the King of Wands. This is fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. This is amplifying the sun, which is in Aries. So that's going to be rather intense. And the reflection of the sun, this Aries energy in Libra, is going to be something very interesting for us to be kind of handling during this time. The Two of Wands, the Three of Wands. I love that progression here. The Page of Pentacles, earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. And the Magician. This is all, of course, seen over by Justice, which, of course, represents Libra in the major arcana. So the full moon is in Libra. The moon is watching over all of this quite intensely and quite powerfully. So that really is exquisite. It's also going to mean that this time is just more intense than we would want it to be. We want things to be really easy and easygoing, but this full moon brings with it a sense of a little bit of conflict, a little bit of intensity. Also, this moon is going to be very intense for the signs of Aries, Cancer, Libra, and of course Capricorn. So here, because of the moon's alignment, so here Cancer, this becomes more intense, this becomes amplified for us during this time. And also wherever we have Aries signs within our chart, more Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, those are going to be amplified within our personality. So just having a bit of a heads up is going to be really nice. This moon, as all full moons do, have us surrendering to power. Now, going into things a bit more during this time. Okay, so during this full moon, we have Venus, the Sun, and Chiron all aligned. And Chiron is known as the wounded warrior. So with the wounded warrior and with Venus, the embodiment of love, coming forward, this is highlighting a lot of our past pains, hurts, disappointments. And the sun in Aries is like, let's keep going, let's push through, let's conquer these demons. Now, with the moon in Libra, the moon in Libra is all about love. It's all about coming together. It's all about bringing people together. So part of our surrendering to the divine is to say, yes, I have these problems. Yes, things are intense, but I'm not going to be in conflict with the sense of the doing from the Aries energy and the sense of the healing from the Libra energy and doing for everybody else for the Libra energy. So both are pushing us in two very distinct directions. And here it says a win-win outcome is forecast. Yes, because during this time, we have Mercury and Neptune in Pisces. And this is us getting out of our own heads. We just really need to. And start forgiving. Start forgiving our past indiscretions. Start forgiving, the way that we mess things up. Start forgiving that we didn't do things sooner. Forgiving people in our lives. We might actually come across information that just becomes so comforting, so intensely beautiful for us. It's like, oh my gosh, that was the missing piece of the puzzle that I needed to be able to heal. And so as we start to heal, we also start to heal our ancestral line. We start to take all the trauma and the drama that was spoken over us, the hurts and the pains that we inherited from our parents, and we start to heal in a really beautiful way. And it's from our parents, our guardians, whomever raised us. And this brings us to the moon being it's called a grand trine, okay? And this is making a perfect triangle with Saturn and Mars. And this is bringing protection and harmony and ease. So there is a sense here of us being protected during this time, even though we're going to be pushed into very distinctive, different ways. And so with both Mars and Saturn, the intensity of these planets give us determination, motivation, and staying power. It's like, this is what I want, this is what I need, this is what I'm going to go through, and this is what I'm going to go through in order to get to where I want to be. Fueled by Aries, okay, in the sun, by the reflective light, of course, of the moon in Libra, but also we're going to want to heal others. We're going to, really see that we're doing well or we're figuring things out, and we're going to want to pull others along with us. We can't. Everybody has to have their own journey. We can share our information, we can share our knowledge, but that's all that we can do. There needs to be a sense of balance for ourselves during this time, because we want to heal everyone. Libra is ruled by Venus. Venus is in Aries. So here there is that conflict, but it's also going to make us look at things in our lives that aren't the way that we want them to be, and say, you know what, it's time. It's time to clear out the muck and the mire. It's time to be more intensely focused on what I want from life and where I want to be. And part of us is going to think, oh my gosh, that's so selfish. But the other part of us is going to say, if I don't take care of myself, who will? If I put everybody else first, everybody will let me. And then I will just start to drown. So the moon is calling us to surrender to beauty, to surrender to self-care, to surrender to making life a beautiful place to be. And it becomes a very powerful place. This is also a very friendly moon. It's a very polite moon. So we're going to be more inclined to compromise, more inclined to listen to each other, which is going to be really quite beautiful. It leads us then to the new moon, which of course is in Aries, which brings this intensity of the Aries energy forward. And again, it might, because we have fire and water. So the idea with the water sign is like, we want to put out the fire, but we don't really. We need that bit of passion to keep us motivated, to keep us moving, to kind of boil us, and to really make that nice soothing cup of tea, right? Or to go into the nice warm water to be able to soothe our muscles. And so here we have new beginnings coming, and we're looking at a way of stepping through one time into another. One way of being into a more defined, more secure, more forceful way of being. And it says it's time to take action. And this is really taking the bull by the horns. And we're going to find that this is a sense of, it's time to start claiming what I want. And it's time to see that there is no white knight. There is nobody who's going to come and rescue me. As hard as that is, it's like, I'm going to rescue myself. And I'm going to do it with this sheer determination. I mean, there's a grit to you and a stubbornness to you, Cancer, that is really quite exquisite. And I really love it. So here then we have the full moon in Scorpio. It's like we're doing all this healing. We're gaining all this determination because the next full moon, it says it's time to release the negativity. It's time to let the garbage go. It really is. And it's time to stand up tall and proud and to be that little bit of a weapon. And I know that might sound incongruous to what we want, but it isn't. It's a fierce determination to say, I cannot let the negativity rule me. I cannot let, my life be defined by the past, because the past is always going to be pain, no matter if the past was absolutely beautiful or if the past was hard, because it can't be recreated. It can only become bigger and grander within our own minds. This leads us to the spirit animal energy for March, which is the whale spirit and the wolf spirit. Now, the whale spirit is super cool. It says here, trust the great mysteries, but also the whale spirit is the great recorder of the earth. And this is telling us to listen to our inner voice, but also listen to the energy vibration that we want to be surrounding ourselves with. Listen to the change within us that is pulling us forward, that is getting us ready for something more. It's time to connect, and it's time to connect with our power and our emotions, and it leads us to the wolf spirit, which says, turn knowledge into wisdom. And that's what we want to do with life, right? Turn knowledge into wisdom. But the wolf spirit also has us embracing our intellect, looking at things more deeply and connectedly, and also wanting our freedom, wanting our independence, but being very aware of where we stand in the world and our space within the hierarchy of things. Now, either we want to change this or we're quite happy with it, but we're going to be aware of it. And this then leads us to the spirit animals of April, which is the wolf spirit once again. Again, we're turning knowledge into wisdom. But then we have the hawk spirit, which says, let spirit be your guide. Why? Because spirit can fly higher and see more clearly than we can ever. The hawk spirit is also the messenger spirit to the world. And so here we have these messages coming our way. It's the messenger spirit to the spirit world. There we go. And we're going to see our power enhancing. We're going to see ourselves become more focused. We're going to have clear visions. All right. So our instinctual understanding is going to be more intense. And this leads us to increase spiritual awakening and an increased sense of who we are. Now, the chakra energy that we need to focus on for this time is personal power. And the personal power is the solar plexus chakra. It's stepping into our own. That's why Spirit showed like a bit of grit, a bit of determination, focus, power, understanding. And it's really embracing this. It's saying, this is who I am. This is what I want. This is where I'm headed. And the spiritual guidance for this time, it's kind of like the mantra to be recited is manifest. It is time to manifest our dreams, our desires, our paths forward, the beauty, the heart, the emotions to what we want. And manifestation gets a bad rap because we think, okay, if I just think about it, it will happen. No, what happens is, excuse me, we start to change our brain waves. We start to change what our mind thinks that we can do by facing fears, by making ourselves braver, by stepping out of our comfort zones. We start to manifest the greatness that we want. And that's what we see when we have the Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups is our dreams, our desires, what we long for in life. And it's truly beautiful. The Seven of Cups usually gets placed away as the world comes at us, as we grow up, as we, have to take responsibility for things, as time passes and we think, oh, I can't do that now. I'm too old. I'm too this. I'm too that. It's like, no, stop. It's time to bring the dreams back. Dreams do not have that arbitrary time frame that we humans so love to place upon our shoulders. It's time to embrace our dreams. It's time to embrace our passion. It's time to embrace what we love. It doesn't mean that life gets to be one big, box of chocolates. It doesn't get to be fun all the time. But it gets to have an element of bliss to it, an element of beauty to it. We have to pick up our, for lack of a better term, our cross to bear, our hardships and pains and disappointments. But we also get to look at the beauty and not be crushed down. And that's going to be the conflict that we face right off the bat in ourselves, because we have the Five of Wands. The Five of Wands is chaos. The Five of Wands is doubt for the sake of doubt. It's people, causing chaos within our lives. It's having to put out one fire after another after another. It's not having the calm, peaceful environment that we long for. And it's also having that bit of chaos within ourselves, that sense of, oh my gosh, I can't do this. Oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. Oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able to get there. And what Spirit is saying is that, yes, we will. We need to be able to focus on our dreams, to focus on the bigger goal of what we want, of what we desire, what we need, what we long for. And that starts to talk to the chaos, okay, to talk to the fighting, to talk to the arguments for the sake of arguments in a real way. And I'm also seeing here things that can be blown out of proportion. And of course, everybody's tempers are kind of running high and everything is odd in the world, right? So here, just be very mindful that things can be blown out of proportion during this time, but we need to really step ourselves back and say, what's important to me? What moves me forward? What guides me? And as we see this, we start to say, oh, okay, well, you know what? That's not something I need to focus on right now. I don't need to give my energy to this. And as we see ourselves being able to departmentalize things, but also being able to call upon our own power, that becomes a place of great strength for us. And it leads us to the Knight of Swords. It leads us to using this moon as a weapon, which sounds like a weird thing to do. But the Knight of Swords is the defender of this moon, of this knowledge, of these truths coming forward. And we start to see things more openly, more honestly, more intrinsically for ourselves. And we cut through a lot of the nonsense. We awaken a part within us that has been dormant for too long. It's almost like we've been complacent for too long, and it's like, no more. I get to embrace what I desire, what I want, what I need, what I long for within my life. And that becomes our powerful way forward, our powerful voice, our powerful place to be. And the Knight of Swords, I always see the Knight of Swords as slaying the dragons that hold our dreams. And we're looking at our dreams right now so powerfully. This moon is bringing them up so lovingly. And that sense of just do it, with the Aries sun is really coming through, in the Aries Venus and Chiron. It's coming through so powerfully, and we just want to go forward. But then there's this fear, and there's this conflict, and there's everything that we need to do versus everything that we want to do. And this is really saying here, I need to focus on where I want to be, how I want to move forward, what it is that I desire, and I'm slaying the demons that I myself have created to keep me held back. And we might think, I haven't created any demons. I'm perfectly, rooting for myself to succeed. Yes, but then we procrastinate. Then we, find of course, procrastination, 500,000 other things to do that need our attention. We focus on perfection instead of doing good enough in that moment and watching ourselves evolve. We focus on a million different things instead of just being in the moment and letting things flow forward. The Knight of Swords starts to give us a sense of bravery, a sense of determination, a sense of fierce focus and fire. And it leads us to the Seven of Swords. It leads us to being a little bit sneaky. I mean, quite frankly. And yes, we have the repeat of the number 7. And as Spirit said before, this makes us, get called out on our sneakiness. Excuse me. But that's not necessarily going to be a deterrent. We're going to see people and they're going to say, oh, well, you're not, telling me everything the way that you used to. Or, oh, why are you spending all that time by yourself when we should be, doing something, or you would be talking to me. And you're like, listen, I'm getting things together. And this becomes a time where it's like a decluttering. It's a purging that becomes so powerfully important. And the Seven of Swords is gathering up what we need and leaving what we don't. There's a lot that we've been carrying that we just don't need in our lives anymore. And it might sound sad and it might sound disappointing, but it's not. It's going to be freeing and liberating and empowering. And it brings us to the judgment. It brings us to the resurrection of who we are and where we want to be and what we are determined to live for and go after in our lives. We're coming out of the box. We're rising into a greater power, a greater understanding of self, a more defined and beautiful truth. And this becomes our anthem of our hearts. It's like, no, I'm not going to be put in that box anymore. No, I'm not going to be held back anymore. No, I'm not going to look at things the way that others want me to look at things. I'm going to embrace this power of me. There's an honesty to this moon. This moon balances so much, and there's such an honesty to it that it's going to shock us. It's going to have us seeing things that maybe we don't want to see. It's like, well, that doesn't comfort me. I didn't want to be called out that way, or I didn't want to see that person in that light. And the moon is going to say, it's better to see the truth and understand the truth than it is to be held back in delusions and lies. And that moves us then to the Hangman. It moves us to seeing things differently than we have before. And it also moves us to seeing things differently than maybe the people around us. And we might find that upsetting. We might think, oh, what's wrong with me? That I can't just be like everybody else. This moon isn't meant to make us like everybody else. This moon is meant to push us forward. This moon is meant to make us feel a little bit uncomfortable. It's the polarization, again, of Aries and Libra, making us see things, making us, face facts that we wouldn't want to face. And it starts to balance us. The Hangman during this time is being different and being okay with being different. There's power in this. There's truth in this. And there's power in us. There's truth in us. Don't change. It's like, don't change for anyone. Start to see this truth. Start to embrace this determination. Start to, stand with the shoulders back and the head held high and embracing this confidence and saying, you know what, no, I'm not going to be meek anymore. And it leads us to being the queen. It leads us to the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups and the King of Cups are like, I love the kings and the queens in each suit for different reasons. But this is one of my favorites because they realize I cannot rule everybody else. I can only rule myself. The king more so than the queen, because the queen has this healing energy that she gives to the world. She really does. She has this open heart. And so here we have this open heart, but we also have this determination, this fight forward, this way of the mind to say, this is what I want, this is what I'm going after, this is what I need, this is what I'm seeing, this is me, and this is good. And so with the Queen of Cups, we become caring, compassionate. We embrace our caring, compassionate way. But we also say, I have to be caring and compassionate for who I am, for where I'm headed. I lead by example, but I can't pull people out of the darkness who aren't ready. I can't change what people are not ready to see. And it really starts to enlighten us. And we drink deeply of the knowledge that divinity is handing us. We drink deeply of this spiritual awakening and this profound, almost prophetic truth that becomes a part of us during this time. And it leads us to the King of Wands. It leads us to, again, the water being boiled by the fire, because the fire is, of course, underneath the queen. The king is here at our root of our heart. So we're resurrecting within our crown, within our heart, within our soul. We're finding this new footing, this new power. And the King of Wands is this passionate determination, this fiery understanding. It is a sense of, I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty. I'm not afraid to look at the bigger picture. I'm not afraid to look at my passion and to say, this is what I'm good at, this is what I'm not. And I'm not afraid to call myself out and also to call others out and to say, life gets to be more than what I'm settling for. There's a sense of creation here. There's a sense of evolution. There's a sense of ourselves evolving in a very almost provocative, profound way. It's like breaking the barriers, seeing things differently, not being content with lies or deceits or half-truths or, however anybody wants to word it. It's like, no, I want to see. I want to see all sides of the coin. I want to see everything. I want to understand everything and be empowered by that knowledge. And there is this huge sense of transformation as it comes. And it leads us then to the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands is like the world starts to open. We start to hold the world in our hands, and it's like we're looking into it. And it starts to not be so terrifying. It's like, oh, that's it, isn't it? There's something here in the public arena where we're pushing the boundaries, where we're looking at things in a more kind of succinct way. And we're saying, there is purpose for me to move forward in. There is power for me to embrace. There is something more here for me to understand. And then that leads us, as we look into the world, as we look into our world, and it's like we call ourselves out, and that can be a little bit, again, disheartening, but we start to see different paths forward, different ideas of truth. It's like the Taoist statement of this and that is true, and it's like, it is. We can have two people seeing the same exact thing, and they will focus on different things. They will bring back different scenarios. So here, with the Two of Wands, we start to really embrace that. We start to embrace the duality of things. We start to embrace the different ideas, but we also start to see where we fit, what's important to us, what's intrinsically important to who we are and where we want to be. And that opens up the Three of Wands in an exquisite way. It's like the ships start coming in, but the ships start going out. And it's like, oh my goodness. It's like, wow, I can have this, can't I? I can move forward this way. It's facing the fears. And it's saying, you don't get to define me. And so we're starting to see new opportunities open. We're starting to see new horizons come forward. We're starting to see things more openly, more honestly for ourselves. And we're embracing a determination, a focus that was once lost. And that leads us then to being the student of our prosperity. We're starting to see different kind of business ventures opening, okay? Or wanting to learn more about something, to take a risk, to say, well, can I open this door? Can I move forward this way? Can I be this person that I want to be? And the answer is yes. But we're very much in the public arena, going to be learning, going to be taking things in. In our hearts, we know that we are queens, okay? So we know that we are queens and kings. We're monarchs of our success, all right? But people are going to see us more as people who are learning, who are discovering, who are building. They're going to see like the wheels turning. So you might have people at this time, they kind of talk down to us just a little bit, not in a, well, it could be some of them in a patronizing way, but it's going to be like, oh, yeah, because anybody who talks down, but it's going to be like, oh, you don't understand this. Let me simplify it. Let me give you this knowledge, like as clearly as possible, because they're going to see that you're learning. They're going to see that there's this greater understanding that's being embraced. And so here, what we're going to do with it is take it in and then start to see how things are interconnected, because it's kind of like, okay, so what Spirit is saying, and I'm like, okay, but it's kind of like pretending to be less informed than we actually are. All right? So it's like pretending to be helpless when we're not helpless. So we're looking at things, we're gaining greater understanding, we're looking at how to put things together. And we don't mind if people start to think that like, oh, well, maybe I don't have it all like figured out completely, or maybe I'm not as skilled at this as they thought I was. And so they help us in a way that gives us greater insight, that helps ease our load so that we can kind of, focus maybe on a little bit different things. And it starts to make us very in tune with where we want to be. There's also a sense of a child here of the earth coming forward. It can be, if you have kids or if you watch kids, like being more outside with them, it's a sense of, there's a sense of somebody who is gaining in their own prosperity coming forward, all right, who's looking at things in a new and kind of exciting way. So this is going to be something that's very useful. It is very useful. It's going to be something that you derive a lot of joy from. And it doesn't have to be that it's a child, it can be, it's just going to be like a new way of seeing things, a new way of gaining an understanding. And it leads us then to the magician. It leads us to us standing before the altar of our existence and saying, this is my power, this is my truth. And I know that what I believe in starts to manifest within my life. And that's where the manifestation comes. And that's why it's so important. Because what we focus on, be it the blessings or the curses, be it the good or the bad, we start to see more within our life in a very powerful and very intense way. And so with the magician, we're learning how to utilize all our blessings, even if we don't think we have any. We're starting to say, well, I can do this, and I can be a little bit brave like this, and I can push forward like this. And it starts to change our perceptions of who we are, of what we want, of where we're headed. And the magician makes us brave. The magician has us embracing our joys, has us, again, standing forward, being seen. There is this sense at the root of the sacred masculine energy that is telling us, pick up what's valuable and leave the rest behind. We don't need to carry the world. And that's, again, going to be something that we battle with during this time. Justice looks over us completely, absolutely, and honestly. And what Justice is saying here is, I'm connecting with Libra. I'm connecting with the full moon in Libra. I want you to be just. I want you to be successful. I want this balance to come forward, this win-win outcome to be forecast and to be achieved. But I also want discernment within our lives. That's what Justice says. We have to be just to ourselves. So we can interpret justice of being the letter of the law, of being, white page, black print sort of thing. But it is also the need to be just with who we are and the energy that we take in and the people that we want to surround ourselves with and the people that we don't, the ideas that we want to surround ourselves with and the ideas that we don't, and not feeling guilty about that. It's like, this is what's right for me. This is what boosts my energy. This is what makes me feel better and bolder within my life. And that's okay. And so we start to be embracing discernment, to say, this is right for me and this isn't. And I derive strength from that knowledge. Now let's see what the moon has to say. How will Cancer be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Cancer be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Cancer be affected by the March 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading. How will Cancer be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Cancer be affected by the March 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Ooh, so fantastic. Awesome. Trust, resistance, creation. Resilience. Luck is on your side, working through your fears. So strong connection with Scorpio during this time. The end of a tough cycle approaches. Your commitment is being tested, a time to give rather than take. So this is cool. So what we have here is we're starting off with trusting ourselves, trusting what we desire, and also trusting that the resistance that we have faced hasn't squelched and hasn't deprived us of our creativity. That's going to be so important. And it doesn't matter if you are a scientist, or if you are an interpretive dancer, or, any other type of artist. If you are right-brained or left-brained, it doesn't matter, because there is a creative element that is coming forward that's going to set you apart. There's that human element, that human way of seeing things that isn't like the computer, that isn't just like, splurting out facts, but there's this creative beauty that is being embraced during this time. And it's leading you to looking at the resilience that you have carried, and that resilience, that life tree that we carry upon our backs and that we plant within our world, brings us to knowing that luck is on our side as we take aim. It's like, no, there is a blessing to me. And it's really believing that there is a blessing to us. And it brings us to working through our fears, because we can't be blessed and absolutely terrified of everything at the exact same time. We have to believe in one or believe in the other. Excuse me. And it brings us then to the end of a tough cycle approaching. It brings us then in the public arena to seeing the hard work, the dedication, the hardships that we have been through really starting to pay off. And that leads us then to our commitment being tested, to saying, can I be in it for the last little bit, like the last hardships, the last bit of work and disappointment and doubts and fears that come before the rewards come. And so we're being tested more and more because we're getting closer and closer to where it is that we want to be. And that leads us then to a time to give rather than to take. It's a time to give to ourselves, time to give creatively to the world, rather than taking that energy and just storing it away. It leads us to our subconscious Luna message, which is protection. We are protected during this time, which is brilliant. And to realizing that personal issues are reaching resolutions. And this is the full moon in Cancer. So subconsciously, we're guiding ourselves during this time. Personal issues are reaching a resolution. There's healing that's coming. There's power that's coming. There's an end to chaos. It leads us then to our subconscious chakra message, which is nurturing. Nurturing our dreams and our hopes. This is the Earth Star chakra, so nurturing our connection with the Earth. This chakra is located 6 inches below our feet. And so it's connecting and nurturing how we're growing, what we want, what we're desiring, how we're looking at things. It brings us to our subconscious guidance message, which is purposeful. It's like what holds purpose within our lives and what doesn't. What do we need and what do we want, and what doesn't hold purpose, what doesn't hold beauty, what doesn't hold reason or love or joy. What have we just been kind of walking around because we're too overwhelmed to cleanse it from us, or to, really look at it. And it's also living and leading a purposeful life. It brings us then to our subconscious tarot message, which is the Chariot. In Cancer, you are represented by the Chariot in the major arcana. So you have you represented by the moon, you have you represented by the tarot. This forcefulness, this determination, this focus, this fire is coming forward. And this sense of charging towards our dreams, looking at what we want, realizing that we're braver than we realize. That is what's going to be powering us during this time. Also, the essence of ourselves is coming forward. It's like, this is what I want, this is what I desire, this is what I need, and this is what I'm headed for. Period. End of discussion. And I'm more than people realize. And that is a beautiful thing. So there's a fierceness to you, Cancer, that is extraordinary. All right. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we face our fears, and give the respect to ourselves that we so powerfully deserve. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Cancer.